It's gonna be good, it's gonna be great, it's gonna be better, I can't wait. Making my move, live for the day, sing like a bird, fly like a plane. Come spill with me, Jenny D.
Hello, my beautiful people. Thank you for joining me with another episode of Spill With Me, Jenny D podcast. I am so excited. I am doing this August authors, and they're women, and I'm doing a series. So I have my first guest here. But before I introduce her, I want to thank my spotlight supporter for August is Lance Blankenship. He's roofing. I'll have all his information underneath. So if you want to contact him, because everybody's always looking for a new roof. So I am just so excited. This is a good friend of mine. I had her on a couple years ago. Let me just read this for you because I really want to tell you about this beautiful woman I have on today. Cori Wamsley is an award-winning sweet romance author of 13 books, which I cannot believe it. I just found this out myself, including Exactly What It Looks Like. I can't wait to hear about this book. Her novels blend humor with heartfelt relationships, similar to the books of Kathleen Center and Emily Henry and Abby Jimenez, but without the spice. As the founder of Aurora Coriolis Publishing, she helps authors develop clear, compelling narratives. I can't wait to hear this. With a background in editing and writing coaching, Cori brings a holistic understanding of both craft and understanding of her work. She lives in Pennsylvania with her family, and I'm just so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me on.
Cori, look where we're sitting. We are sitting at a professional studio.
Very fancy.
Studio Me. Cori, when we did our podcast, this is a couple of years ago, we did it at the library. Mm-hmm. And now I spoke to her, and thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate you coming down here because both of us are the type of people that were like, we don't like to drive in town. But thank God this is not in town. This is just right off of the boulevard. But I appreciate you coming down here today.
Sure. Thank you.
This is so, I am so excited for you. I mean, first of all, so the listeners and viewers that don't really know you, tell me, why did you get into being an author and the publishing and what made you want to get into this?
Yeah. So I've been writing short stories since probably 8th grade.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I would sit in homeroom and just scribble stories in the back of my notebook, and I was shocked because they were only a few pages long. I couldn't understand. I'd read all these books and then I couldn't write something that long. I was 13. My goodness.
Well, I was going to say, because sometimes I feel like some people have the knack for it of writing. I know that we spoke a while ago about me writing a book.
Yeah.
But tell me, is it hard to write a book?
I think, as with everything else, if it's something that you really want to do, you can make it hard,
right?
But there are also ways to make it very simple. What I've done was, since I was 13, I'm clearly not 13 anymore. Over time,
13 again.
Over time, I've studied the craft, learned from other people. I have a master's degree, so I did my bachelor's and master's. Understanding how books are done, understanding themes and how that stuff's woven in. I've worked with editors and coaches and all kinds of people to really understand what I want to do when I'm putting things on the page. And because of that, I feel that writing a book is easy. This one that's here, Exactly What It Looks Like, I wrote it in 3 months. It's 85,000 words. And I've had people approach me and say, I don't think 3 months is long enough to write 1,000 words.
Oh, wow.
So it really can be easy, but I think a lot of people have things going on in their heads that prevents it. They sit down at their computer and they freeze. They feel like whatever they put down has to be brilliant right away, and it really doesn't. I find that having some structure to start with really helps. Taking the pressure off of yourself to write perfectly the first time through helps a lot. This is not what it starts with, I start out with a messy first draft. And sometimes when I sit down at my computer, I know what I want to write for a chapter, and I just can't get the words to flow. So I'll sit there and I'll be like, he said this, she said this, he said this, she walked across the room, like really bare bones stuff. And then I put on my editor hat and I come back to it and I start looking at it from like, oh, this needs to sound more like this, or, but what were they doing when they were discussing? Oh, they were having dinner. Okay, well, they set their fork down. She took a sip of her water, adding in things like that.
Yes.
It can come in layers. And I think allowing it to come in layers really helps with letting your words flow.
It's almost like my minor was actually musical theater. Well, theater, not musical theater, but just theater. So it's almost like you're writing a screenplay. You're writing people talking, and to me that's like so creative. And someday, I'm saying this on air right now, someday I'm going to write a book. We'll see.
I'll hold you to it.
No, she will too. So let's get into this. So what kind of stories do you love writing the most? Because it seems like you have a little variety here.
Well, my writing's evolved over the years.
Yes.
As I've gotten older, I feel like I've been able to bring more humor into my writing. I used to feel like it needed to be very serious. And then over the years, just anymore, I feel like the more laughter we have, the better. And so most of the stuff that I'm writing now is funnier. I tend to blend funny with really human stories, a lot of emotion, not, drama and struggle, but the things that we actually deal with in our lives. So like in the latest book, her father passes, and, a lot of people deal with a parent passing, but not only this, he was estranged. She had not been around him much as an adult. And she had ideas of who he was because of that. He had just not been great at reaching out, not been great at connecting, not been great at building a relationship with her. And so when he passed, he left her this quest because deep down, he really did want her to understand him and where he was coming from and what his struggles were. And so the story is about her changing perception of him,
Right.
About her growing as a person, about her opening up and understanding. And the funny thing is she's a sociologist, so she studies people.
Right.
But it was like you have a blind spot with the people around you sometimes. And so that's what I wanted to bring into this. And then along the way, she also falls in love with an acquaintance from back home who she had embarrassed herself in front of a couple times. So that brings in that like lighter side of it. I find that if you're balancing it, you really can tell a harder story without it feeling hard. I don't want my readers to sit there going, oh my God, I have to turn the page and see what happens. Yes. I want them to laugh along the way and understand, life is messy and fun and beautiful and disappointing and so many things all rolled into one.
I love that, Cori. It's so true. Like you're telling real stories. Like this character could be somebody that's really out there, which really makes it so relevant to this day and age that we live in. And it's true. You evolve as we get older, our thoughts and the things that we, experience, and Cori is funny. Let me tell you, she is funny. You should see some of the stuff she does. You're so real. And I think that's what makes you, so successful at what you do, Cori, because you have to be real with people when you're talking to them. And, like you said, you're trying to find those sit down, quiet days where you're just kind of trying to write. I always think of people going to like the mountains and trying to write a book there.
Well, I wish.
Yeah.
Just last night, my kids, I have two daughters, they're 11 and 13, and they had a friend over, and in the middle of it, can you do this? Can we get pizza? Can we do, I'm like, can you just let me write this really hard scene I'm working on?
At least one thing done.
Yes.
So how would you describe your books to someone who's never read your work before?
Yeah. So I usually start out by describing the spice level because people are very specific about the spice level. And that's, intimate scenes. There are no intimate scenes. You get a kiss in my books, so technically it's like Hallmark spice level.
I was going to say that does sound like it.
Yeah.
I love Hallmark.
But they are emotional and humorous. So I usually tell people similar to Emily Henry. I actually had a reviewer the other day say, this is a lot like Emily Henry without the spice. And I'm like, yes, that's what I thought too.
That's what you're accomplishing.
Emily Henry, Abby Jimenez, they both write spice, but they are emotional rom-com sort of books. So that's usually what I describe them as. I've recently been reading some non-spice books like Catherine Center, maybe Sarah Adams, though her characters from the couple books I've read seem to be a little younger. And there's a little less of the serious stuff. But I do what I can to blend it together. Humor and heart.
Humor and heart. So if somebody was going into like the bookstore and they would, because you know how they have like different categories, like what category would it be in?
It's under romance.
It's under romance?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I figured. Okay.
Yeah, if you go into a local bookstore, and this is a tip for people who are indie authors, if you go into the local bookstore, a lot of them have a special section for local authors. So
Really?
yeah, so if you go in, I know like Woolly Bear, All About Books with TLC, I'm blanking, Blythe Books. I know all of those are fairly close to me, and they all have a separate indie author section. Though I was in Blythe Books the other day, and they actually have mine with the romance face out because they said that they're trying that too. So always check on that. If
I
there's,
love it. I love that they support, local authors,
Yes.
here in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
So what book of yours was the most fun to write and why?
Oh, geez. So every book I write is fun.
Right.
There's
There's got to be a fave.
I like a challenge.
Yes.
So I'm going to say this one for now, although they all have their challenges. This is Ashes and Other Inheritances. And this one was kind of hard because I was trying to tell the story. It was inspired by something that happened in Canonsburg over 100 years ago.
Okay.
There was a theater there. Someone yelled fire, and everybody went running out of the building. You can imagine what happened. There were some people who passed from that tragedy.
Oh my gosh.
And
Sorry.
so because of that, Canonsburg, like the main drag in Canonsburg down Pike Street, is actually known as a fairly haunted area.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yes. So I thought it would be interesting. I get my hair cut there, and that's how I found out about it. I thought it would be interesting to tell this story of a woman who finds out she has a unique connection to somebody who passed. I'm not going to ruin the story and tell you what that connection is. But she finds a diary from this person, and she's reading what the woman wrote, and there's a mystery inside. So as she's trying to solve the mystery, she ends up having to reconnect with her ex.
Oh, no.
Now, this is a second chance romance, and she had been married to him. So one of the big challenges was to figure out how I can tell this story of them getting a divorce without making either of them wrong and without making them unlikable characters.
Right.
Yeah. So there is a good reason, but they needed to get a divorce, and them coming back together was just right timing. So that was a very challenging piece. And then blending in this backstory of the journal. And along the way, there's also a missing painting that comes into play.
I love it. So that you love a challenge. You love that.
I do.
Yeah, I love that about you because it's almost like a mystery kind of, mystery romance / that's what I love about that because I feel like, Cori, this is up my alley because this is the kind of things I love to watch. I love rom-coms, and I also love a little twist too. It's funny because, there's people that are like, I don't have time to read a book or, hey, how do I, get a book? But it's something about the pages and the smell of a book.
Yes.
That people just write. And you of all people probably just love it.
I don't sit around smelling books at all.
I know that sounds so funny. I'm like, I love this. My stepdad who passed away a couple years ago said that there's something about the newspaper. He always enjoyed the smell of the newspaper and the touch of it. So there are people that just love that kind of things, right?
Yeah.
So your newest release, exactly what it looks like. I think this is so cute. And I love the pink.
Thank you.
A healing journey with humor and a new romance. What inspired this story and what do you hope readers take away from it?
I know.
I was reading about it, so I'm interested to know.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, the idea that came to me first was, how weird would it be if I had this character who had a dad who was kind of obsessed with Lord of the Rings and those kind of stories.
Oh.
So, what would happen? Well, he would probably, he's this big character. So he was kind of in the periphery as opposed to my main character.
Right.
But I was getting that there was this big character, and when he passed, he wanted to go out big. So going out big to him was going out Lord of the Rings style, having his ashes thrown into a volcano.
Okay, that's because I have never seen the Lord of the
Okay,
Rings. So I'm like,
yeah.
oh, you need to tell me a little bit.
Well, the thing with Lord of the Rings is it's a journey sort of story. So
Right.
they're on a quest, and they have to. I mean, it's 3 books of them going on a quest to drop a ring into a volcano. But there's a lot going on in the meantime, and I kind of thought that would be interesting. I always have a slightly nerdy twist to my books. I thought it would be interesting to see, first of all, how is somebody going to react when they're reading their father's will and it says, I want you to go to Hawaii and put my ashes in a volcano. They're going to, even if you like the
Who
guy,
wants to
you're
get
going to
near a
say,
volcano?
what? So that was the beginning of the story. I mean, you get some funny stuff at the beginning before she gets to the will, but I knew that was what I had to do. And it was less about that, even though that was like the big thing was, get to that point and be able to do that for him.
Right.
But it was also a healing journey for her, and what he wanted her to do and why he wanted her to be in Hawaii. But it all sprung from that idea of,
I can't believe it,
how
Cori.
weirdly shocking that would be to find out that that's what you have to do.
Yes, because I was reading a little bit about it, and I thought, this sounds like something I really want to read because it's exciting, and it's like you said, adventurous.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you want to escape from reality or anything that's going on in your life, and you want to read a book that's just going to take you away into almost like you're in the book. You feel like you're kind of going along with them. Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah. Yeah. I absolutely love that.
When did you write this?
This spring.
This spring. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is 2026.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Came out this summer.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I'm excited that am I the first interviewer that's interviewing you?
I think so.
So you offer editing, layout, copywriting, and publishing consulting
Mhm.
for authors. What are the most common struggles you see authors face, and how do you help them overcome those challenges?
Yeah.
That would be me.
So there are a lot. We kind of touched on the one where people sit down and they feel like it has to be perfect. I think some other challenges are, once you've actually got a draft that you're happy with, it's really hard to hand that to somebody and say, here, please tell me what's wrong. Because we feel like we're being graded. We feel like we're back in school
teacher.
and they're going to take a red pen to it. And I mean, even my books come back red. And it's because they're looking at it from another perspective. They're reading it as somebody who doesn't live in your head, which is really important. Because you know what you've written, you understand what you've written, I hope.
You understand it.
And by the time you get it to somebody else, they're looking at it from the reader's perspective. They're not just cleaning it up and, adding in a comma or saying, oh, you missed a word here.
Right.
They're looking for clarity. They're looking to make sure that, your character, stays the same or, changes in an appropriate way. I've had somebody, look at my book, like at my writing group before and been like, I don't think she would say that here. This doesn't match with her character. And I'm like, oh, you're right. That doesn't match.
Really? So
Yeah.
you do take somebody else's point of view?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's important to consider who it is that's giving you this perspective. I know people say you should always learn from your reviews. Well, there are some reviews that just wasn't the right reader for you. So,
Right.
if it's somebody who typically reads fantasy and then they come over and read my book, they might be disappointed that there are no dragons. So, or, whatever it is that they say. So you do have to look at who's giving the critique, what they're saying, even there are things, I know someone who's a former professor, and when they read my stuff, a lot of what they say I'll take into consideration, but there are some things I'll go, that doesn't work because this is romance. And that's not what they write. So, it depends on who's looking at it and what they bring to the table. When you're working with an editor, it is important to come into it understanding that's a peer relationship. This is somebody who cares about you. They are on your level and they want you to do well. So if you're working with an editor, typically most of the comments are going to be, hey, I'd tweak this, or, this could use some additional explaining. It's not quite clear. It should be mostly positive stuff. If you're working with an editor and they're like, this is crap, they're probably not a very good editor.
I would cry.
I recommend not working with them. But even like we have several editors that I have as contractors through my business.
So you would recommend the editors?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. If someone comes to me, I will assign an editor, whoever's not busy or whoever is going to be the most appropriate for that work, based on their experience, because I've known them for a few years and I know what they do and how they handle things. And I also know that they are positive. So you'll see things like, I totally agree, or wow, this really hit me.
Yes.
Great phrasing on this, things like that. I think also once you get through, most people understand you write the book, you get the book edited, and then what?
Right.
So there's a lot of confusion on the back end. So I just want authors to know that like there are people out there like me who can help you with that. That we can do layouts. Like when you have a book,
yes,
you don't write it and make it look like that, right? It's not that size. It's not that font. It doesn't have page numbers when you're when you're working on it. So those are
that's okay. I think this is a little big for this book.
That's okay. But
yeah, I get that. Like I don't, so basically you're a consultant. Mm-hmm. You will help. Say somebody comes like, oh my gosh, Cori, I'm writing this book and I really need help. So you will be able to direct them to who they should see. Like, hey, this is your editor. Mm-hmm. And then as far as publishing, does the editor help them with that, or do you find them a publishing company? Is that what they are?
That's something I can help with.
Okay.
Most of the people we work with would be indie authors, so they'd be doing self-publishing. And that's something I walk people through all the time.
Wow, self-publishing.
Yeah.
See, I didn't even know. This is all new to me, and I think that a lot of people struggle because they don't know which way to go.
Right.
They got this idea, they've got this story that they want to put into words, and that's the hardest part.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if it were as easy as writing the story and then just printing it off, that would be great.
I know,
But
I know.
there are a lot of steps. The writing, the editing, the layout, making sure that it's uploaded properly. Make sure you select the right platform to use, because there are multiple platforms that you can use. I work with 2 of them that I would consider to be the top 2, but I'm sure there are others out there that do different things. So you have to kind of know what you want to do with the book, where you want to go with it, how you want it to be available. Right. As far as printing goes, like the 2 that I work with, they do the best job for printing. Because that's something else you have to think about.
Right, you have to think about that.
Yeah, like if this book came out and it was all wonky and crooked and the colors weren't right and then the ink was smeared on the inside, like that's not a good look. You want to make sure that everything is professional. So that's why, if you reach out to a consultant like me, I can say, do this, don't do this, stay away from that.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so great to have, Cori. You're not just an author. You help people. You do consulting. I love that. So what's one thing you wish more authors understood about publishing?
Oh, well, there's a list.
Yeah, I know. I can only imagine.
If I can touch on one thing and then discuss the other. So I'm going to give you 2. You get a bonus.
Yay!
So the first
Jot
one,
this down, people.
The first one is you can put out a book and there is a very slim chance that you will get famous putting out that one book. I always get questions, can I get on Oprah, Drew Barrymore, all these? Maybe. I don't even know who has shows anymore. I don't watch TV.
I know,
I just
really.
read books.
You just read books.
But people always reach out and ask, how do I do this? How do I get my book found? And it is a long game. It is absolutely a long game. I'm 13 in, and I'm sure there are people watching this podcast who have no idea who I am. And it has nothing to do with the fact that I have been I mean, I've been marketing, I've done PR. This is not my first podcast.
Right.
I've done a lot of work on this over the years, and I'm still not at the point where I would even attempt to pitch to Oprah. But if she's watching,
hello.
call me. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a huge misunderstanding that authors have, is that they can put a book out, and I don't want to keep you from being excited about it. Absolutely be excited, but
Right.
it is a long game. Put a book out. If you're in nonfiction, put a book out and have things that surround that. You need a business surrounding it, speaking, coaching, consulting,
Right.
whatever it is. You need some other pieces that are working with that puzzle. If you're doing fiction, you have to have more than one book. Yeah, that one book is great. Keep writing, because you want people to stay connected to you. If you think about it like a restaurant, if they put out a pizza and then they didn't have another pizza for a long time,
Right.
you might not go back.
Yes.
Or
Or
you
you'll
might
forget
get-
about them.
Yeah, you forget about them. If you don't see their advertising, you might forget, oh, yeah, there's a pizza place right down the road. You may get tired of cheese pizza and say, hey, I want to try something new. Well, that's all they've got.
Right.
So there's not an opportunity for them to grow. So, I mean, comparing books to pizza, but
Right. But be relevant
Yeah.
and kind of keep it so you keep your audience engaged and that
Right.
they're listening or they're watching and they're kind of keeping, oh, what's next?
yeah. And at this point, I put out 2 books this year, one in July, one in March. It's
Wow.
a crazy schedule. But I happened to have finished this book, and I love a challenge. And I was asked if I wanted to be part of a romance fair. And I was like, I could get another new book out by then.
Yes.
So I did. But at this point, when I'm putting out books, if I'm doing a lot of advertising, like, oh, get my new book, I will see people go back and pick up my backlist. So I've seen sales, around the launch of this book for like Ashes or for Good in Theory. And those weren't ones I was pushing. And it's because people have seen this and then they find my other books.
Right.
So very long game, but it does work and it takes time. And, that's something you have to work up to. And then the other thing that I wish more authors knew is to stay away from AI.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. That is huge right now. I know there are companies out there saying, oh, use AI to write your book, use AI to edit your book, use AI for your cover. Please do not. Don't do any of that, because first of all, it's not ethical. You are not the author if you are using AI
That's
to
true.
write the book. AI was trained using stolen books. There was actually a lawsuit last year, if you wanted to look it up, and it is a well-known AI platform.
Really?
Yes. So you can look that up. If you're curious, reach out to me. I'm not going to say it on the air.
Right. I can't believe
Yeah.
it.
They were using pirated books to train their AI models, obviously without permission from the authors.
Wow.
And the authors who had copyrighted their books, which you can do if you have not used AI to write it, because there was a lawsuit where somebody was saying, hey, they used AI to write their book, and the Copyright Office would not let them have a copyright on it.
That
They
is
said,
so
you didn't write it.
scary.
A robot wrote it. You are
That
the
is
editor.
so scary.
Yeah.
You think about that because I know I was talking to somebody, I was trying to do a newsletter and they're like, oh, you can use AI to do your newsletter. And I'm like, I don't want to use AI to do my
Yeah.
newsletter. I want to, even when I write my descriptions and things like that, it uploads into there. And I'm like, no, that doesn't sound like me.
Right.
You do this day and age, you want it to be authentically you, I think that's what people gravitate towards. They're like, oh my gosh, this is Cori. This is the way Cori talks.
Right.
They could probably figure that out, that it's coming from AI. Do you think they can?
There are some tells. And it's not M dashes. Please don't come for my M dashes. But there are some tells. And I feel like a lot of times when I read something that was written by AI, because I do have people pitch to me, hey, can you edit my book? Or, what do you think of this? And I'll read it and I can tell. It has to do with the cadence. It has to do with a lot of single sentence paragraphs, which just takes the impact out of a single sentence paragraph to begin with. But there are absolutely tells. And I think just from things I've been seeing online, people feel like it's kind of soulless. Like there's something
get
missing
that.
and they can't figure it out, like that uncanny valley sort of thing. And you can look at an AI headshot and tell the same thing. Like there's just something off.
Yes.
And it's freaking me out. And it's not just that she has an extra mole. Like it's something a little weird.
It does.
Yeah.
It's so true. Because I was, a couple of months ago, I was putting out these AI posts, and my daughter said, "Mom, what do you?" And I said, "You know what? I didn't even think about it. I was like, I just put it on because I was like, it was already done and ready. It wasn't me. It was like somebody else. It was kind of like almost like it was a file that just had like about podcasting and just had a different person on it." She's like, "You can tell it's AI." And I said, "Okay, you're so right. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, I want to make it more about me. I don't want to do this quick fix thing that, or that social media has been doing a lot of, you kind of want to still stay real to who you are, But thank you for explaining all that, because I didn't even know.
Yeah. And there actually is, if I could just add this, there is a lot of pushback from the reader community and the writer community. So I would stay away from it. Work with real people. They are
Yes, we're not robots.
Wonderful.
I can touch you. I can feel your
Yes.
skin. So for authors who feel overwhelmed by the publishing process, what practical steps or mindset shifts do you recommend to help them move forward confidently? I know we touched on with
So things that help me out, just with starting writing, is making notes, taking the time to create an outline, at least have an idea of kind of where you want to go with the book. Because if you sit down and you aren't used to writing books, I know there are people out there who are called pantsters, like they fly by the seat of their pants.
Oh, I love that, pantsters.
I am a plotster. I don't know what the phrase
You're a
is.
plotster.
I'm a plotter. But I sit down and I do an outline, and I have at least a vague idea of how things are coming together. It just makes it easier to know where things are going. It's like if you get in the car and say, "I'm going to go to the beach," you should probably know what beach you're going to.
It's true.
Otherwise, you might be driving for a while. I find that as somebody who likes organization and likes rules and likes details, that really helps me to understand where I'm going, at least vaguely, and understand it's going to change. There might be a detour. You may need to make a pit stop or, grab some food or whatever.
Right.
There are going to be some changes along the way, but having that kind of basic outline at least keeps you, in the lane. And then after that, I find that I don't want to say deadlines and scare people, but sort of like,
Right.
This is a project.
Do you give yourself a deadline, or did they give you a deadline?
I tend to give myself deadlines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If you are looking for an editor, they might say, "Hey, I have openings in September." And then you say, "Okay, I'm not going to make that. I need extra time." It helps to understand approximately how much you're working on, how many words per month you can write. I don't suggest new authors do 85,000 in 3 months.
Wow.
That is a lot. That is a lot of
lot.
words. But like this, I had a detailed outline and I knew where I was going, and I just happened to have some extra time. So that's why it took 3 months. I tend to do 6 months for my writing, and I will look at it and say, all right, approximately this many chapters or this many words per month, approximately. And I feel like at this point in my life, I have a natural rhythm for getting a book done in about 6 months. But then figuring out the back end of it, understanding, when things are going to be due. It's almost like being a project manager for yourself.
Oh, that's so true.
Yeah. Understanding that if you want to publish a book in September, you don't reach out August 15th and say, "Hey, can you design my cover?"
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, when you were saying, going back to the editor says, "Hey, I have time in September." What does that mean? Does that mean that you have to have like everything done? The whole book done?
Yeah. If you're
okay.
ready to work with an editor, you should have a final draft. You should be happy with it, not "Here's my mess."
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought you give them your idea and show them a little bit of that, but no, you have to show them like the final draft.
When they're ready to work on it, they have to have a final draft, and it needs to be the whole thing. Most editors don't take like the first 3 chapters and then wait, because it's best to read something as a whole. That way you have some continuity throughout, and you understand, like if you're doing nonfiction, well, we already talked about, work-life balance. Work-life balance in chapter 2, and then you're talking about it again in chapter 8, and you gave me something totally different. I'm not going to remember that if I'm editing a book and I'm doing part in March and part in July. So it's best to have the whole thing done all at once. Same with fiction. You want to make sure that there are story arcs and there are character arcs, and that you're following them. You don't want your character to start out as a grump and then have no reason to become a happy person. Like they have to see this transition from grumpy to sunshine.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
And, I always think of this too, like, I don't know if it's, the way we are in our day and age, but do you find that most of the things that you write are happy endings or endings that kind of give people closure?
Because it's romance, it's required to have a happy ending.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes, I do write happy endings. When I was doing women's fiction, I wrote happy endings for those too. I do still have a couple women's fiction books that I bring with me to events. I just feel like I need a happy ending. I want everybody to be okay at the end. And I feel like we all need hope. There's never a day we don't need hope.
You know what, Cori? I can't remember what I took a class in college, and I remember we were sitting there, and I think we were because I was television and radio was my broadcast major. So I remember we were talking about some of the movies, and they said that mostly, American movies are happy endings, but not, if you're going what other countries, they do not stress that. They want you to be like, oh my gosh, like sad or, unhappy about it. So I'm so glad you said that because, you do want to see, at the end of it, that something good comes out of it. Because you don't want to be like, we already have so much else on our plate. We don't need anything to make us more upset.
Right, exactly. And
Cori, you made me upset.
And I think it's the same with nonfiction too. Yes. I do stress that with my nonfiction authors that you want to give people hope. You want to be at a point in your journey before you start writing that you can give people hope.
Right.
Coming in and saying, well, things are crappy and maybe they won't be crappy next year. Like that's not very helpful.
Nobody wants to read that. Let's be honest. I don't want to read anything like that. So what upcoming projects, either new books or new services, are you excited to share with the listeners?
Yeah,
I'm excited.
So we actually expanded our offerings. We had been working exclusively with nonfiction, but we've expanded and started working with some fiction authors this year, which is a lot of fun. I love fiction, so that's been great. And then in my own work, I'm working on my 14th book, which we don't have pictures of or anything.
Wait, we're going to get the inside here. Cori's going to tell us.
Yeah. So the 14th book is, I think I have about 20,000 words left.
Oh my gosh, Cori.
Yeah. I'm hoping to write that this month.
How many books do you want to eventually write? Do you have like a number in your head?
No, I just have a bunch of files with my notes for the upcoming books. I'm actually tell you about this book but I'm going on a girls trip with a couple of friends this fall to Salem, Massachusetts, right around Halloween.
What?
Yeah.
Ooh, the witches.
Yeah, because
I got the chills.
Fun.
Yeah.
And so that is going to be one of my upcoming books is something about, a trip to Salem. All my characters live in the Pittsburgh area. So any of the trips, they start out in Pittsburgh or they end up somewhere else. Like this one, they start in Pittsburgh. But that one, they're going to start in Pittsburgh. And I've kind of started playing with who I want to work with on that one. Because I do try to pull a side character from one of my other books to pull into another one. So I think it's,
Okay.
Yeah, because I want to make sure that everything's tied together loosely. So you can read a book and understand it, and then later you might get a side character from that book.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
See, it's so, I think I'm listening to you and I'm thinking your mind, you have this creative mind and you're always thinking and you could be somewhere and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this would be a good book. Or this would be, I can add this. Your husband, your daughters are probably like, Mom, are you thinking of something, writing something down?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you do that a lot?
I do. Yeah. I email myself and then I'll go home and add it to whatever list it needs to go in.
I love that because you're living the story, and what I stress about with what I do for my show is I share stories.
Right.
So I feel like the stories that I've been sharing on my show could be a whole book, different chapters of different people sharing their stories. There you go. There's my book right there.
Yeah. I know people who've done that. So.
And then I can do my story at the end.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, let's start right now. Cori, I'm just so excited for you. And I just love the way your books look, like the covers of them.
Thank you.
Like to me, they attract me. Like this is the kind of thing that I love. You have, the romance kind of look. You have the beach. I don't know what you have on there. It looks like that's more of a sunset.
Yeah,
like
sunset with my couple walking down the street. And then this one actually takes place in Seattle. This is this character's sister. But yeah, there's they're fishing.
I love that. I
Yeah.
just love the way it looks. I mean, I just so appreciate you coming here today and, filling me in with what's going on with all your books and what you're doing. And I love that you're coaching. So if somebody's out there listening right now, Cori, and they want to know, like, Cori, I don't know how to start, how would they get a hold of you?
Yeah. So you can reach out to me on either of my websites or on social media. I get a lot of people in my DMs. I am Cori Wamsley on literally everything. Spelling's up there. Or if you go to coriwamsley.com, there's a contact form there. Also Aurora Borealis, and that's like Aurora Borealis, but I took the bore out.
I was going to say, I don't know if I said it right. Where did you get that from?
That is literally how I came up with it. I thought it was
Really?
funny. Yeah, I like putting my name in things and playing with words.
You are so funny. You are the creative mind that you have, Cori. Like, I'm just like, you could just make a book about me right now here, sitting here doing a podcast.
I already did.
I'm in a book. I'm a character, right? I'm just so excited for you. I'm so thrilled. And I cannot believe you're already on your 14th book.
I can't believe it either.
Now, if they want to buy your book, they would go to Amazon?
Yeah, you can go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It's also on bookshop.org, which is pretty cool. That's a website that supports your local bookstores if you
okay.
purchase. If you go on there, absolutely pick whatever bookstore is local to you to support. It's also, this one is available. I just dropped these off because they were running out over at Blythe Books in Brentwood. They have this one there. They have, I believe, all my books at Woolly Bear in Carnegie and All About Books with TLC in Canonsburg. And then you can also, if you want a signed copy with stickers and bookmark and whatnot, you can go to my website, coriwamsley.com, and there's a shop on there now.
Oh, really? That's
Yes.
amazing. Oh my gosh, Cori, I love this. This is so exciting. I'm just so thrilled that you stopped by today to just like fill in the listeners and the viewers of what's going on with my girl, Cori.
Well, thank you for having me
Oh.
on. I really appreciate
Oh,
it.
you're so sweet. I haven't seen Cori in so long. We haven't been out and about. We saw each
writing
other.
books.
I swear it's been like last year. She set up a table. So I do see you go to some events where you'll set up a table, do
Yeah.
some book signing, and share all your books. And I love that so much. So exciting. Thank you all for listening, for viewing, and being a part of another episode on Spill With Me, Jenny D. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care.
Come spill with me. Come spill with me. Come spill